What if I told you that one Native American tribe cracked the code of written communication centuries before most people even knew it existed? Imagine a culture where history was passed by voice, stories held only in memory, and then, suddenly, someone begins to carve words into permanence. Not on stone tablets, not on paper scrolls, but in a form so distinct, it stunned scholars when it was finally understood. In this video, we're diving deep into the story of the first Native American tribe to develop and use a written language. We'll explore how they did it, why it mattered, and how this breakthrough transformed not only their culture, but their legacy. By the end, you'll have uncovered a chapter of American history few people have ever heard about, and you'll never look at writing the same way again. Why should we care? Because written language is power. It's memory made permanent. Its culture secured for generations. Most Native American tribes pass their knowledge through oral tradition, which is beautiful, but fragile. It can vanish in a single generation. But one tribe changed the game. Let's talk about the Cherokee. Around the early 19th century, a man named Sequoyah, who had no formal education and spoke no English, did something extraordinary. He invented a writing system from scratch for the Cherokee language. Think about that. This wasn't just adopting English letters or symbols. Sequoyah created a syllabary, symbols that represent syllables, not just sounds or individual letters. It was efficient, elegant, and completely unique. Here's the jaw-dropper: within just a few years, Cherokee literacy rates exceeded those of white settlers in neighboring areas. Yes, really. In the 1820s, you were statistically more likely to find a literate Cherokee than a literate white frontiersman in parts of Georgia and Tennessee. Sequoyah, a blacksmith and silversmith, grew frustrated that the Cherokee had no way to write their language. He noticed that white people used written documents for treaties, land claims, and laws, and it gave them control. He believed the Cherokee needed that same tool. So he began developing symbols, first hundreds, then narrowing it down to 85. He taught it to his daughter, who quickly picked it up. That was his proof: this system could be learned. Sequoyah was mocked at first. Some people in his tribe thought he was practicing witchcraft. Others assumed it was impossible. But when he demonstrated it in public, by having his daughter read aloud messages he had written in private, the room went silent. It was undeniable. He had done it. In 1828, just a few years after Sequoyah finalized his syllabary, the Cherokee Phoenix newspaper was founded. It was the first Native American newspaper, and it was bilingual, printed in both English and Cherokee. Now imagine this: less than a decade after getting their first written language, the Cherokee were printing a newspaper, preserving culture, laws, and news in their own words. This wasn't just about literacy. It was about identity. Cherokee became one of the only non-European languages in the world to have a writing system developed from scratch by a single person. This is almost unheard of in world history. In a world where indigenous voices have often been silenced or forgotten, the Cherokee syllabary stands as proof that native cultures were never primitive, never voiceless. They were innovative, strategic, determined. And that legacy lives on. Today, the syllabary is still taught in Cherokee schools. It's used on signage in tribal areas. There are Cherokee language apps. Unicode supports it. Some Cherokee even text in their native syllabary. It's not just history, it's living culture. Sequoyah couldn't read or write in English. He didn't even base his symbols on Latin characters. Yet some of his syllabary letters look like English letters, but mean entirely different things. It's like seeing a familiar face in a crowd, only to realize it's a stranger. What many people don't know is that Sequoyah paid a personal price for his innovation. He became obsessed with completing his writing system, isolating himself from his community. His first marriage ended. He spent years working alone in a log cabin, shunned by some, ridiculed by others. But he didn't give up. He believed that a culture without a written language could be erased. And he wasn't going to let that happen. Not to his people. The Cherokee syllabary had ripple effects beyond the tribe. Other native nations took notice. Attempts were made to create similar systems for different languages, although few reached the same success. Even missionaries and government officials started using the syllabary to communicate with the Cherokee, recognizing its effectiveness. Creating a full writing system from scratch is almost mythological. The only other individuals credited with doing this include Mesopotamian scribes, the inventors of Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Chinese sages. Sequoyah's name belongs in that pantheon. Sequoyah died in the 1840s. He never got rich, and he never saw the Cherokee thrive the way he dreamed they might. But his work outlived him. Even when the Cherokee were driven from their homeland during the Trail of Tears, they carried the syllabary with them. Through suffering, exile, and loss, they carried their words. And through those words, their identity endured. To this day, children in Cherokee schools learn to read and write in the syllabary. Road signs, textbooks, and even government documents include it. Sequoyah's vision didn't just survive, it grew. In the early 20th century, a stone tablet covered in strange symbols was found buried near an old Cherokee village site in Oklahoma. At first, archaeologists thought it might be a hoax, or maybe an ancient European relic. But when Cherokee elders examined it, they realized it was written in Sequoyah's syllabary. The tablet contained a message about harvest, weather patterns, and a spiritual blessing. A rural message board, set in stone. In 2006, the Cherokee Nation approved a resolution to reintegrate the syllabary into modern technology. Today, Apple's iOS supports Cherokee keyboards, and Google Translate has tested Cherokee translation. Even video games like Minecraft have been modded to include the Cherokee syllabary, bringing the language to a new generation through play. At the Cherokee Heritage Center in Oklahoma, there's a sound installation where visitors can hear traditional songs written in the syllabary. Each display includes both the syllabary and Latin transcriptions. Some melodies were recovered from handwritten songbooks dating back to the 1830s. During a restoration of a historic Cherokee mission school, workers discovered carved symbols inside the wooden beams. Students had etched practice syllables into the very walls of their classrooms over 150 years ago. Historians now treat these markings like a time capsule of early education. In the end, what Sequoyah gave his people wasn't just letters. He gave them memory. He gave them voice. And he gave them a way to make their stories permanent, even in a world trying to erase them. So here's what I'll leave you with: if one man, working alone in a cabin in the woods, could give his people a written language, what could we create if we truly believed in the power of our own voice? If you found this story meaningful, consider subscribing. We share powerful, untold chapters of history every week, stories that deserve to be remembered. Hit that subscribe button, and join us as we uncover the history that shaped America.